What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Titus Builds. I am so excited to be filming this video for you guys today. As you guys can see by the title, we are going to be building a brand new city from scratch, from the ground up, completely vanilla with no mods at all. Now, one of my main goals of this video, which is ultimately going to be a series and have a few parts, is to demonstrate and give you guys a very beginner-friendly, very user-friendly experience when creating a new city in City Skylines 2. That's resulting in a very successful city, happy citizens, with you making money and making sure that you're having fun while doing so, all right? Now, without further ado, I don't want to do too much talking. Let's get right into it. Now, here we are at the main menu, as you guys can see, okay? And because we're starting a new city, we're going to go and click New Game. Now, when you click that, the game mode is going to give you two options, Easy Mode and Normal Mode. Honestly, I have never used the Easy Mode. However, if you feel like maybe the Normal Mode is a bit too much and you want to start off pretty easy, feel free to go and use the Easy Mode. However, I have never used it. I've always used Normal Mode, and it is pretty simple. It's pretty easy, straightforward. I don't think it's difficult at all. So I think that you will have no problems, okay? However, when you're building your city, it's going to be your city. So choose as you'd like, okay? I'm gonna go and select mode here. And now it's going to bring me to my map options, okay? These are the default maps. However, I have already went in, downloaded my map. It's a custom map from Paradox Mods. Now, in today's video, we're not going to be going over anything regarding Paradox Mods. If you guys would like an in-depth tutorial about how to use Paradox Mods and how to download custom maps and mods, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, okay? However, this is a beginner-friendly video, okay? So, this is the map that I have chosen right here. Listen, y'all, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this name because I cannot. And as you guys can see to the right side, it gives you a little overview of what is in your city, what it contains, and what it's about, okay? You have the theme, the climate, the latitude, which is where it might be placed on Earth, your buildable area, which is, I'm guessing, referring to how much space you have when you first start the city, okay? Or it could mean overall. Don't quote me, okay? It has your outside connections and your natural resources. Now, because this is a beginner-friendly video, the only thing that I'd really point out to not make it so much is maybe the climate, okay? Now, this is important when you are thinking about what kind of city that you would like to build, okay? Do you want to build a city that's more like New England, you know, in the States, you know, Connecticut, something like that? I'm saying that is because that's where I'm from. And in Connecticut, in New England, there's a lot of trees, a lot of woods and stuff like that. Or do you want more like a Caribbean style? Feel free, you know? So what's important to point out here is if you want a city that has all 4 seasons, where the trees change colors, then you're gonna wanna go for a city that has a cooler temperature. If you want a more beachy vibe, then you should go with the city that has a higher temperature, okay? This is the city that I have chosen, or this is the map that I have chosen, I'm sorry. And I know this is a pretty popular map. It's a it's a really good map, has a lot of natural resources. All right, so we're gonna go in and select the map. Now for the city name, of course, you guys can pick any city name that you'd like. However, for today's video, I'm going to just name it New City because I want you guys to comment down below any city names, okay? And I'm gonna pick from you guys, all right? Now, right below that gives you the theme. And your two options are European or North American. Now, don't think of this like this is gonna put you in a box because I typically like to choose the European theme. However, I mix the buildings, the plants, the trees. You can still use North American features or European features, vice versa, depending on which one you pick, okay? Now, the game mode, obviously we chosen before. It's normal, so we're gonna leave it at that. Now, right below that, it gives you a few options: left-hand traffic, natural disasters. And if you want to unlock everything and have unlimited money, have all the space in the world, you can definitely choose any of these three options. I know a lot of players and a lot of content creators like to use these features whenever they just want to build freely and not worry about money. However, we're going to be playing in normal mode today, so we're going to leave just the natural disasters on. And right below that, it gives you the tutorial options. And we're just going to keep the tutorials disabled, okay? So let's go in and start our game. Now that we are in our city, before I tell you guys anything, I kind of want to go over a few things that are here at the bottom of our screen, okay? I'm not going to go over everything. I don't want to go too much in detail. I don't want to do too much talking about this, okay? But I'm going to go over a few important things, okay? So right in the bottom right corner, this is where you will be able to see the average happiness of your citizens, okay? And this is really important because you want your citizens to be happy so that more people are more likely to move in. If your citizens aren't happy, they're going to start moving out, and it's going to be very hard to get new people to move in, okay? Right to the left of that, you have your money. Everyone starts off with $1 million in normal mode. If you're doing easy mode, then we'll have $2 million, okay? But for normal, it's 1 million. Right to the left of that, you can see how many people are living in your city, okay? We don't have any people living in our city right now, no citizens, we're just starting. Then you have your city name, you have what season it is and how hot it is or how cool it is outside and the weather conditions. And then you have the month and the day of the year, okay? Now, right above that, you can see what level you are on and kind of how close you are to reaching certain milestones in the next level, okay? Very brief. And right to the right of that is actually going to be our demand bar. Now, this is very, very important. However, we're not going to go in too much detail about this because we don't need to focus on that too much when building your roads, your infrastructure, and everything like that. Once we start placing residential areas or residential buildings, commercial buildings, offices, industrial, then I can explain a bit more about the demand bar, okay? Now, we have a few icons down here. However, I don't want to take too much time, okay? I want this to be very beginner friendly. I don't want to overwhelm. We're just going to keep it nice and simple, and I will explain as I go. Now that we're in our city, one of the first things I'd like to do is I'd like to get familiarized with the city and the map, okay? And the areas that we have to build on. I really, really like this city. It's really, really cute. I like the highway that cuts down right into the middle. I think this is a really, really cute bridge. It adds a lot of character to your city. And what I'd like to start to do is I'd like to start to brainstorm where I want particular areas, maybe where I want my downtown, where I want my low density residential, where I want some parks, industrial, and such and such. Now, because I don't know, maybe this is your first city, maybe this is your 100th city, okay? But I want it to be nice and simple, all right? Now, the first thing I like to start with is I like to start with electricity because this is going to give us some information on where we can place some of our areas, okay? And I'll explain what I mean by that. Now, every city needs power, okay? We need power, we need electricity, we need all of that, okay? Now, you have a few different options here, okay? You have a power line, you have other things, transformer, such and such, yada, 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 okay? However, I think the easiest thing to start with is going to be a wind turbine, okay? I know that we do have a power line here. However, that would require us to get a transformer, and it's just more steps. I don't think it's as simple as a wind turbine, okay? So we're going to go and place a wind turbine, and this is going to create our power and our electricity for our city. However, the wind turbine gives us really, really important information, okay? As you guys can see, all of these arrows, okay? And they're pointing in a particular direction. These arrows are actually showing us in which way the wind is blowing, in which direction the wind is blowing, okay? And this is really, really important for one main thing, our industrial area, okay? Now, if I were to go and place any industrial buildings over here, that might be a problem, because if I build my city in the middle over here, and I build, just building my city over here, then the air from the factories and all these buildings over here are going to push the polluted air into the city. And that's not good, okay? That's pretty bad, because that will make your citizens unhappy, okay? They are going to complain about polluted air and the air is so dirty. So you really, really want to avoid that. So even though we're not placing the industrial area right now, it's going to give us an idea where we could place it, okay? Now, as you can see on the wind turbine, it gives you a few little details. Depending on where you place this, it's going to give you a different electricity production. Obviously, we are aiming for 5. So you're not going to want to place your wind turbines in the middle of your city, okay? You want to kind of place them on the outskirts where you're not going to be building. And keep this in mind, not every single map or city has a decent amount of wind production, okay? Or, strong enough winds to use the wind turbine. So you're going to have to plan accordingly, okay? However, if it's there and you're able to use it, I would suggest using it, okay? So the first thing I'm noticing is I really like this hill, this little mountain range over here. So if I check over here, as you guys can see, the electricity production is 5 megawatts. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for, okay? So what I'm going to do is I like to place 3. That gives me enough electricity to last the first few levels, okay? So I'm going to place one right here. I'm going to place one right here. And even though the max is not 5 over here, if I look for maybe 4.75, that's still good enough, okay? So I'm gonna place 3. And already, just like that, simple like that, we have our electricity up. Now, we're not completely finished yet, because as you guys can see, there's this little icon that is showing, and that means that we have to connect these wind turbines to our city, okay? All right, now that we have our wind turbines, the next thing I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys what I like to place next, and that's going to be our water and sewage. Now, in this particular map, we have a lot of access to the water, okay? I'm going to actually do a water pumping station. If you don't have lots of water, you can always use a water tower. Now, when you're using a water pumping station and a sewage outlet, which is what we need, we need both of those. We need water to come into the city, or we need water pumping to our citizens. And we also need to have a sewage to get rid of and clean and everything like that, okay? Get rid of the wastewater. And what's important about these 2 things is that you want to keep them away from each other, okay? And I'll explain what I mean in a second. I'll show you guys. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to do the water pumping station, okay? And the water pumping station and the sewage outlet do require roads to be connected to them. You don't need roads to place them, but in order for them to work, you are going to need roads to be connected to them, or a small pathway. So I think I'm going to place the water pumping station right here. It's perfect. Okay, doesn't have to, we're not going for perfection, but it's perfect right there, okay? Now, I'm gonna go to the other side where the contaminated water is going to be completely out the way. So even though it might look a little wonky, I'm going to place the sewage. So I think I'm just gonna do it right there. All right. Perfect. And as you guys can see, they still have these little icons because they need rows to be connected to them, okay? However, we're gonna get to that in just a second. All right, you guys, so we already have pretty much our basic necessities in order to get our city up and running. We have our electricity, our sewage outlet, and we have our water pumping station. Obviously, they are not working right now because they need to be connected to our roads, which we're going to get to next. Before I even get into the roads, I wanted to explain something that I might have missed. So with these necessities, our wind turbines, the sewage, the pumping station, you do want to keep in mind that they do have a monthly cost. They have a maintenance cost, okay? And you guys, you can see that when you're placing them, okay? As you guys can see, it says right here, the upkeep is for the wind turbines is going to be almost $8,000, okay? And then for example, for the sewage, it's about $10,000 a month. And the water pumping station is about $5,000 a month, okay? And you're gonna notice these costs when you even place your police station, your clinic, things like that, okay? Now for our necessities, I pick these things because they're also pretty affordable. And these are not gonna break your bank, okay? These are not gonna make you run out of money. These are pretty low. I wouldn't suggest going and getting something that's completely crazy. When you're first starting out, you wanna keep that maintenance cost, your monthly cost for your services as low as possible, okay? Because when you don't have as many citizens bringing in money, from rent and everything like that, and you don't have a lot of businesses, your money is going to be growing slowly in the beginning, okay? So you want to avoid taking out a big loan if you don't know how to properly run the city to get you back on track. You just want to avoid all those things, okay? So yeah, I just wanted to explain that about the maintenance cost. So you really want to keep that in mind, okay? And also, you guys, if I'm explaining things too fast, feel free to just ask any questions down below and I can explain, okay? Now, let's move on to our roads, okay? Our road system and where we want to place our things, okay? Like I said, I already have an idea of where I want to place a few things. Now, if you guys see this little icon right here, this is our zones, okay? This icon and this feature is very, very important, okay? Because this is where you're going to pretty much build everything, okay? Now, for our roads. Your road system is going to be very, very important, okay? And if you've seen any other tutorials, any videos, any other content creators here on YouTube or anywhere else, the very, very popular road hierarchy or road layout is the grid system. Now, grids are very, very important. They allow you to place a lot of things in a condensed area. That doesn't mean that you should place everything, okay? And I'm gonna show you guys kind of what I mean. So, as you guys can see right here, this is where your citizens are gonna come and enter the city, okay? But I'm not really feeling this square roundabout, okay? So I'm gonna get rid of that. So let's get rid of this. Boom, 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 boom. As you guys can see, I selected this bulldozer feature, this icon right down here, and that allows you to delete things that are in your game, okay? I just deleted those roads. And I'm kind of thinking how I want people to come into the city, okay? Now, I know there was a square roundabout here, but I kind of want to keep the idea of a roundabout, but I think I want it circle. However, I think I still want these two roads to come down the middle to meet in a main intersection down here, okay? Once you want to start building your roads, you're gonna click this road button right here, okay? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And this is the default setting, okay? I'm going to click this 3-lane one-way road right here, okay? Like I said, I'm not gonna go for perfection. I just wanna lay it down. And because I want a circle roundabout, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to place this continuous series. It says an endless series of bends. And basically, this is just for your curved roads, okay? I'm just gonna show you guys. Okay, perfect. So now we have our roundabout, and I'm actually going to connect these two roads to here, and then I'm gonna place some more roads and place a little layout, okay? I like to use a mix of grids and, random directional roads. I don't like everything to be grids because I just think it takes away from the character. You want some character, you want some uniqueness to your city. So I'm just going to place a few roads and a little layout to show you guys what I do. All right. So it might not be perfect, but I just want some uniqueness to it. So right now I'm just going to build and create my layout. So let's get started. All right, you guys, we have went and laid down a small road system, a small layout for our city. I think it looks pretty cute. As you guys can see, I did leave out a few things that I did want to show you guys. I still haven't connected the water pumping station, the sewage outlet, and the wind turbines. I have not connected them to the roads because I wanted to show you guys. And I didn't place any roads for my industrial area just yet because that I also wanted to show you guys that. Now, also, if you can see, I didn't use up all of the land. I didn't place roads everywhere, okay? Now, and I also want to show you guys, as you guys can see, I have a few curved roads and I have some grids. Let's connect our power and our water, okay? Before I explain anything else. So the way to connect these turbines to your city so that your city has power, you're going to go to the electricity. You're going to go to this first icon right here, the electric cable. And what I like to do, and what's really cool for the wind turbines is I like to go to the elevation and I put it down. I decrease the elevation, okay? So that way you don't see the electric cable. It's underground, out of sight, out of mind, okay? And it results in a cleaner look. So you do have to connect all three. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna wave your mouse right under the wind turbine until you see this little green light. That's how you know it's able to start connecting, okay? So I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna go over to this other section. I'm gonna click here as well. I see in the green light. I'm gonna click here as well. And then I'm going to connect it to the closest road, okay? I do not want to connect it to the highway, okay? Because if I connect it to the highway, then that means that the city's not going to be powered. Because if you see over here, the power from the highway does not connect to these roads. You could connect them if you want, but it's just an extra step that we just don't have to do right now, okay? What you can do is you can find the closest road like this, boom. And now your city has power and it could start running right now, okay? So that's what we want to go for. All right, so let me exit out of this. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to place the roads to connect the water pumping station and the sewage. Now I'm actually going to go and build the roads. We're going to build out our industrial area. So let's go. All right, you guys, I just went and built just a small industrial area. Like I said, you can always grow, you can always expand. That's why I left some room here. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna actually go and connect all these things. All right, you guys, so that was pretty simple actually. So yeah, all I did was I just went here to the water, the combined pipe, which is, fresh water, sewage, and it also comes with power, okay? And I just connected this road to this road, and then this little road right over here to this one right here, so that everything is working. Hopefully, we'll check in a second. So you guys, I think this is looking pretty good for the main foundation of our city. It's not too big. We have our road layout. I might make a few changes. Well, all right, you guys, I think we have accomplished everything that I wanted to in this first part of this video. In this first part, we put down our wind turbines, which is for our power and our electricity. We did our water pumping station and the sewage, and we did our road layout. All right, you guys, I think this is looking really good, okay? This is just the beginning. Like I said, I just wanted to make this pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, this is pretty short and sweet. I didn't want to make it too long. So hopefully you guys get the gist of everything, okay? And get the gist of what you need and your necessities in order to start building your city. I will see you guys in part 2, okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, if you feel like maybe I skipped over a few things, feel free to let me know down in the comments and I'll answer any questions, okay? Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.